background noise and the music, but the reason I wanted to get you on camera and talk for a moment was because I noticed not just what you were carrying, but how you're carrying it. And I wanted to get your thoughts on a bill that went through the Oklahoma House of Representatives last session. Are you familiar with House Bill 3010?
No.
Okay, well, one of the provisions of House Bill 3010 basically would have made that type of holster illegal in Oklahoma. It would have required that holstered weapons have their barrels carried in a generally vertical position perpendicular to the ground. What do you think about that?
I think it's kind of silly. I mean, I don't know. I've had some people tell me that carrying it this way it looks more aggressive. But you know, when I'm at places like this, or even during emergency situations, you know, I'm actually happy that people think that this is a more aggressive way to carry, because then they're not as likely to screw with me.
Well, do you find it's just more comfortable for you, or
it's more comfortable for me?
Easier access when you need
it? It balances easy. This holster actually, where I have my plate carrier on, my weapon and my extra magazines are you know, in the opening of my plate carrier under my arms. It's just more comfortable.
Okay. Now, another provision in House Bill 3010, this was actually put in it as a floor amendment in the House, and you can go look the video up at the House's website and on my YouTube channel. The whole voting process, from it being brought up to the floor to being passed, took less than 3 minutes, first of all, which is crazy, okay?
Oh, yeah,
and this is including the floor amendment being introduced and approved, okay? Basically, it would have allowed the banning of firearms on public property. If, say for instance, an event were to take place, say like a street party, a festival, a gay pride parade, something of that sort, were to take place, the city approved it, there was a permit, and the permit holder said, well, we just don't want to have open carry on that public street. That would have been allowed. What do you think about that?
But as far as I'm concerned, that's completely against the Constitution.
Absolutely. Public property is public property. The taxpayer money, that's our street.
Money. Yeah, it's just like a couple of years ago, they was going to have the Second Amendment rally at the state capitol, and I drove down there in advance to find out exactly where the no gun zones were. I couldn't find any signs nowhere, so I asked the troopers that were around there, you know, hey, when we have, you know, when I come down here for the Second Amendment rally, where can I carry and where can I not? Because I don't want to break the law while I come down here.
Right.
And there was absolutely nobody to tell me where the gun zones and no gun zones were at the state capitol, except that absolutely not inside the building.
Right.
You
That's how the law is right now. You can't go into a government building.
Like, okay, so I'm going to come down here, and with no signs nowhere, nobody tell me where I can and can't have my firearm, then I run the risk of going to jail if I carry my firearm. And they're like, yeah, basically. I'm like, okay, I'll take my chances.
Yeah. Well, in Oklahoma right now, no gun signs are not backed by force of law to begin with.
Right.
And
it's well, they have to ask. Well, what I understand, they have to ask you to leave if they have a sign, and then it's basically a misdemeanor.
Right, it's trespassing. Trespassing if you refuse to leave, and even if they don't have a sign, they can still ask you to leave, and it's trespassing.
Right.
And so, if House Bill 3010 had passed, it would have been a situation like, say, if Moms Demand Action had a rally at the state capitol, and we wanted to have a counter protest and show up with our guns, they could have said no open carry at the grounds of the state capitol, and if we showed up with guns, they could have us arrested. How crazy would that have been?
Yeah,
that's bonkers.
Yeah, that's stupid. I mean, because the Constitution, Second Amendment, it doesn't say that you can't that there are places that you can't carry.
Right.
Back in the old days, you could carry absolutely anywhere, but people didn't carry in certain places just out of respect for the building or what was in the building. Which that's the way it should be.
All right, we had common decency back then. Wait a second here with the motorcycles. We had a common decency back then that came from having common standards back then,
Yeah, right.
which we don't have anymore.
Right.
And I think that's a sad commentary on where our society has gone and what we've come to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I believe that a person has the right to carry a weapon, a firearm of any kind, anywhere, but you also have to respect the individual property owner's wishes. And you can't, if they have a sign on the business, then I'll leave my weapon in the truck, or I might hide it.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, the sign is basically them giving you the heads up that it's like, hey, buddy.
Like
yeah, they don't like it. It's like saying, hey, buddy, if I see it, I might be telling you to leave.
Right. And that's fine.
That's their right. It's their property.
As a private property.
Right. And if you cover it up, it's a lot less likely for them to ask you to leave for something they don't know that you have.
Right.
And
it's a two-edged sword. I mean, it's
And
I just believe that everybody should have the right to carry a firearm, but they also, when they do carry, they also have the responsibility to know how to use it.
Right.
You shouldn't just go buy a firearm and strap it on and you've never fired it, you never had a safety class, you never had anything. Be responsible. Be responsible and learn how the firearm that you carry operates. Know the safe firearm safety, and and shoot all the time so that you're proficient. So that if you do have to use it, you're not hitting everybody except for the person that you're wanting to take out.
Yeah, I like what Colonel Dave Grossman says: shoot your carry gun and carry your shooting gun.
Yeah. So that's just.
Bye, Adrian.
Bye, Leslie.
Bye, you guys. I have a birthday party to go to.
For the little guy, right?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Noah.
But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Second Amendment.
Well, I agree with what you had to say. Thanks for talking to me.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Thanks.